The new compacting drawers and drawer storage units are up and running, and they are looking great. We now pretty much have a place for every type of item that can become compacted into another block, and it is so easy now to manage things. And just behind as well, we have extended out our storage just so that we have a bit more, with plenty more opportunity to get even more storage in whenever we wish. And I have also placed down some cables to connect up our botany plant drawers to the overall system here as well, so if we come into the request table, I can now search for all of the items that our botany pots can make, and we can just simply collect them from here as well. But that's enough about drawer storage for the moment. Let's move on with today's shenanigans, which is going to take us into a new quest log, the Tinkerer's Construct quest log, and we've got a bit of work ahead of us, creating a lot of new parts here so that eventually we can create some new items. To get started, we need to make ourselves some seared bricks, which means we need to melt down some grout, and in order to make the grout, we will require some sand, clay and gravel. So let's grab out a few stacks of compressed gravel, then turn all of it into some nice sand for us, and then we take that sand, store it away and take out some compressed sand in its place, then turn that compressed sand into some dust. And from the dust, we then make some clay. I really need a better way of automating this. But we now have everything we require in order to make some grout. So let's stick that into the furnaces and slowly let it melt down. And there is our seared bricks. So now I want to make myself a seared fuel tank, which requires seared bricks alongside a piece of glass. And that's then one of those for us. I will quickly grab a bucket of lava, and if I place the seared fuel tank down, I should then be able to put some lava into it. And that has filled that up pretty nicely, so we now have a nice fuel source. Next, we are going to make ourselves a seared melter, which requires seared bricks alongside a seared fuel gauge. And the seared fuel gauge can be made using seared bricks alongside some glass. Now that we have the seared melter, I am going to very quickly make myself up some seared bricks, as well as some seared faucets and a seared casting basin. Now I will quickly set up a little smelting system here and just put the faucet on the end, although we will need one more thing quickly, and that is a seared heater, which is pretty simple to make. In fact, we will need two of them, so let's make those. I'll stick the first one just underneath this system, and with the second heater, we are then going to turn it into a Smeltery Controller, which will require us melting down 4 copper ingots and then feeding that into the seared heater to create the controller. We have a few copper ingots at least, so I will just simply put those into the melter, and then within the heater we will need some coal to actually start melting it down, and that is now the 4 ingots melted down. So if I get the seared heater, put it inside the basin and then turn on the faucet, that will start slowly filling up the seared heater and will start turning it into the controller. So that's one completed controller for us, and we now have everything that we require in order to make up a bigger smeltery system. For the smelter itself, I'm going to make up some seared glass units because I think they just look better. And I have cleared out an area in this space here where I will start making up this furnace. I think that will be enough of a base for it, so let's start getting up the walls around it. And I will place the controlling unit just on there, and the opposite side here is where we will place in our fuel tank. Now just to surround the rest of it with some glass blocks. And that's looking not too bad so far then. Although now we will need to make ourselves some seared drains, which we can do by using seared bricks alongside copper ingots. But that is all simple enough. I didn't really think this next part through, but unfortunately I will need to get rid of the 3 pieces of glass here. although we do get it back actually, so that's pretty good. And then I will set the drains just in front, and I will place a basin just there, then make myself up a few searing tables and place them there and there. And things are now starting to look pretty good here, although I forgot very quickly that I will require some levers, and I'm just going to set them there on top to control the drains underneath. Now, if I come over and grab myself out a few ingots of gold, I can then place those golden ingots into the smeltery here, which will allow them to start being smelted down into some molten gold for us, and that has worked out well. If I now place my faucets onto the drains and then I get myself out an iron ingot, I place that onto the casting table, and if I flick the lever, we will have the gold come out, go around onto that. Let me stop it, and that produces us a golden ingot cast, which, as you've seen, if I place it down and allow some more items to come out, then it will just simply form us some golden ingots or whatever other material that we have inside of it. I am going to automate this a little bit by placing down some hoppers just underneath and some chests just to the side for the hoppers to then go into, and I will definitely need to remove this nether portal. It is very much being in the way, but now if I turn on the lever to make some golden ingots, it should go down into the hopper and then into the chest for me, so that I don't need to worry about taking it from the table every time. Well, as I let the remaining gold then smelt out into some bars for us, let us look into what we are doing next, which is making one of these tinker anvils, which will require blocks of bronze alongside some cobblestone and a tinker station. The blocks of bronze can be made by using bronze ingots, but in order to make the bronze ingots, we will need to smelt down copper alongside tin to make them. And fortunately, we do have a few stacks of tin ore as well as copper ore, so let's start smelting down some of them. And we actually need 3 times the amount of copper compared to tin in order to make the bronze, so we will just need a lot more copper for this. But that's absolutely fine, we have enough copper, and in fact I can already see that we have some molten bronze inside of this, of which I can already make 6 blocks of it, so let's set that to the next thing to be smelted, and then we turn on the lever here, which will fill up the basin, and this will then harden and give us our bronze blocks. Just like that actually, so that's done and is in the chest. There's our first block of bronze. And with it, we can now make our Tinker's Anvil. And also, that's the Tinker's quest log, now officially complete. So let's set the anvil down then, and this has opened up a whole list of new other items that we can make, which includes the sledgehammer that I definitely want to make. This will require a hammerhead, tough handle and 2 large plates. But because we now have the smeltery up and working for us, what I can then do is come into the parts builder and make some of these stone large plates, as well as the hammerhead. Then I can place them down here on the casting tables, and whenever we get some gold smelted down for us, we can then start casting some of these. And if I quickly start smelting down some iron, I can then use our new casts to start making some iron versions of these tools. So that is an iron large plate for us, and that is an iron hammer for us. And I just went for the wooden tough handle because I think it will give us some more durability, but if I put in the new iron items, I can create our iron sledgehammer. And what I absolutely love about this tool is that it will allow us to dig a 3x3 hole, which means that my expansion here within the cave has just become so much simpler. And I can even upgrade the sledgehammer even further by using some silky cloth on it, which will give it a silk touch effect. And silky cloth can be made using string, alongside a rose gold ingot, with the rose gold ingots being able to be created using copper ingots alongside gold ingots. And just by happy coincidence, I think we have had rose gold being melted down for us. Yep. So let's start smelting out some ingots of it. And with the ingots, alongside some string, I can then create some silky cloth, which if I put the iron sledgehammer into the middle of the anvil and then surround it with the silky cloth, we get out a silk touch iron sledgehammer. And this should now allow me to start getting just actual stone rather than cobblestone, which again will just help out with the expansion here. Good stuff then. Well, now I can basically go around and upgrade all of our tools here, at least up to iron, and even give some of them the silk touch effect. But I think the next thing on the list is to come into the immersive engineering quest log and begin slowly making our way towards being able to make some steel. But in order to make steel, we will need to melt down some iron ingots into it, which will require a blast furnace. And in order to make the blast furnace, we will require some blast bricks, which will require nether bricks alongside actual bricks, and this chromatic compound. And the chromatic compound comes with its own list of requirements, which will require the use of the create mod. So that's something that we will look into next time.